Stand up. Now. The officer's hand moved toward his gun. Marcus Davis looked up from his book, calm but alert. He'd been sitting on a park bench for nearly an hour, enjoying the quiet. But peace never lasts when someone's looking for a problem. Officer Brian Harkins had been watching him from across the park. 20 years on the job, full of experience and gut feelings. And today, his gut told him a black man sitting alone was trouble. They say some people see danger where there's none, and others see a black man and call it a clue. This isn't made up. This happens. One bad assumption can flip an innocent afternoon into a nightmare. And today, that's exactly what's about to happen. Before we go any further, comment where in the world you are watching from, and make sure to subscribe because tomorrow's story is one you don't want to miss. Marcus turned another page, trying to ignore the stare burning into him. Kids were laughing somewhere behind him. Birds were chirping. Normal life carried on. But he could feel it. The officer's eyes, heavy, judging, waiting. Harkins finally started walking toward him, slow and certain, like he already decided how this was going to end. Afternoon, the officer said, his tone polite but sharp. Afternoon, Marcus replied, voice steady, hands resting on the book. What brings you out here today? Just enjoying the park. Nice day. Harkins nodded but didn't really hear him. His eyes were scanning, searching for something wrong. You from around here? Marcus smiled a little. I've been around. That was it. Not an attitude, just an answer. But to Harkins, it was a challenge. His tone hardened. Mind if I see some ID? Marcus's smile faded. Am I under arrest? Harkins didn't like that question. Not from someone calm. Not from someone confident. You will be if you don't cooperate, he said, hand resting on his holster. Marcus took a slow breath. I'm just sitting in a park, he said quietly. Is that illegal now? You fit the description, Harkins said, the line everyone uses when they've got nothing else. He stepped closer. Marcus didn't move. He'd seen this play out before. He knew what came next. Stand up, Harkins ordered again, voice sharper. Marcus rose slowly, hands visible. The tension was thick enough to choke on. Turn around, Harkins ordered, voice tight, full of that fake calm cops use when they're one step from losing control. Marcus didn't argue. He just looked at him once, then turned around slowly. No fear, no begging, just quiet compliance that somehow made it worse. Why wasn't this guy nervous? Why wasn't he shaking like they usually do? The cuffs clicked shut, loud, final, unnecessary. A few people nearby stopped walking. The air changed. You know that silent, uncomfortable moment when everyone knows they're watching something wrong, but no one says a word? Yeah, that one. I didn't do anything wrong, Marcus said quietly. Save it, Harkins shot back. You can explain it downtown. Explain what though? Reading? Sitting? Being alive in the wrong skin at the wrong time? Harkins grabbed Marcus by the arm and started walking him toward the patrol car. Each step felt heavier than the last. Gravel crunched under their shoes. Somewhere off to the side, a kid whispered, Mom, what did he do? The mom didn't answer. She just pulled the kid closer. Marcus didn't resist. He didn't even look angry. That calmness, it wasn't weakness. It was experience. Harkins opened the back door, pushed him in, and slammed it shut harder than needed. Then he climbed into the driver's seat. The car smelled like old coffee and attitude. As they pulled away, Harkins checked the rearview mirror. Marcus was sitting there, cuffs behind his back, posture straight, eyes steady. Not a word. Just watching. What were you really doing in that park? Harkins asked. Marcus looked up. Reading. Harkins let out a dry laugh. Reading? You expect me to believe that? Marcus tilted his head. You don't read, officer? For a second, Harkins' jaw tightened. He didn't like being talked to like that. Calm, confident, unbothered. You think you're funny, he said. Marcus shrugged. I think you're reaching. And that line, oh, that one stung. You could almost feel the air in the car change. Harkins gripped the wheel tighter. Guys like you don't just sit in parks reading books, he muttered. Marcus raised an eyebrow. Guys like me. Silence. He heard himself say it, and it hung there. Ugly, heavy, real. Harkins looked away, pretending to focus on the road. The reflection of Marcus in the mirror didn't blink. Just that steady, unreadable look. The city blurred past, neon lights flickering against the window. To anyone outside, it was just another patrol car. Inside, though, two men sitting in the same space, but living in two different worlds. Every few blocks, Harkins glanced back again, hoping Marcus would look scared, anything to justify what he'd done. But no. Marcus just looked back, calm as ever, like he already knew how this would end. And maybe he did. The precinct came into view, gray, boxy, dull, the kind of building that smells like bad coffee and broken promises. Harkins parked, got out, and opened the back door. Marcus stepped out quietly. He wasn't fighting, wasn't shaking, just waiting. They walked inside. The chatter dipped. Heads turned. Cops know when something's off, and this right here? It felt off. Harkins led him to the booking desk. Officer Jenkins looked up, half a sandwich in hand. "What's this?" Jenkins asked. "Suspicious behavior in the park," Harkins said flatly, tossing over the ID like it proved something. Jenkins glanced at it, froze for a millisecond, then tried to play it off. "Right. Okay." That pause was too long, long enough for Marcus to catch it. And from that tiny pause alone, he already knew. Somebody here knew exactly who he was. Jenkins' eyes flicked from the ID to Marcus, then back again. He swallowed hard. "You, want to take this to Captain Bennett?" he asked, voice cracking just enough to give him away. Harkins frowned. "Why?" "Just process him." Jenkins didn't move. He gave a look, small, quick, the kind that says, "You're in trouble, and you don't even know it yet." Marcus saw it. Of course he did. He almost smiled, but he didn't. "Not yet. Captain's in her office," Jenkins said. "You'll want to take him there." Harkins hesitated, irritation crawling up his neck. "Fine," he muttered, grabbing Marcus's arm again. "Let's go." They walked down the hall. Every step echoed. Every passing cop gave that sideways look, the kind that said, "Something's not right here." The tension? You could feel it like static in the air. When they reached Captain Bennett's door, Harkins gave a sharp knock. "Come in," a woman's voice called from inside. He opened the door and guided Marcus in. Captain Laura Bennett looked up from her desk, mid-40s, clean uniform, eyes that didn't miss much. One look at Marcus, and you could see it. Recognition. Quick. Sharp. Hidden behind her poker face. "What's this about, Officer Harkins?" she asked, voice calm but cool enough to cut glass. "Caught this guy in the park," Harkins said, straightening up like he was giving a report. "Acting suspicious. Wouldn't cooperate. Thought it best to bring him in." Bennett's eyes stayed on Marcus. She didn't blink. "Is that so?" she said softly. Marcus met her gaze, steady, calm, deliberate. That silence between them? Dangerous. It said everything without a single word. Bennett leaned back in her chair, arms folded. "And what exactly was he doing that made you think he was suspicious?" Harkins hesitated. "He was sitting there, watching people. Wouldn't give me a straight answer." Bennett raised an eyebrow. "Sitting, reading, watching people. That's your probable cause." The question hit harder than he expected. "Well, he fit the description," Harkins stammered. "Of who?" Bennett asked. No emotion. Just steel. "The suspect from, the report," Harkins said, flipping through excuses like cards in a bad hand. Bennett didn't even move. She just stared, long enough for him to realize how ridiculous he sounded. Her tone shifted. "Officer Harkins, step outside a moment. I'd like a word with Mr. Davis privately." That made him blink. "Captain, outside," she said, sharper this time. And that was that. He unclipped the cuffs, confusion on his face, and walked out, closing the door behind him. The silence that followed was deafening. Bennett exhaled, then looked at Marcus properly for the first time. "Mr. Davis," she said, voice lowering. "I owe you an apology." Marcus finally smiled, faintly. "No need, Captain. I know how it works." "Oh, I doubt you do," Bennett replied, shaking her head slightly. "Because right now, Officer Harkins has no idea who he just arrested." Marcus leaned forward, calm as ever. "Then maybe you should tell him." Bennett nodded slowly. "I will, but I want to handle this carefully. For now, let's keep your identity between us." Marcus studied her face. "You know I'm not here to make a scene. I just want it handled right. And it will be," she said. "I promise you that." Outside, through the glass, Harkins was pacing. You could see it, the nervous energy, the realization starting to creep in. He didn't know why, but his gut told him something was very, very wrong. Bennett pressed the intercom. "Officer Harkins, come back in." The door opened. He stepped inside, trying to act confident, but his hands gave him away. "Mr. Davis," Bennett said calmly, "is not the man you're looking for. You'll release him immediately." Harkins froze. "What?" "Captain, with respect." "Immediately, officer," she repeated, voice flat and final. He fumbled with the key, unlocking the cuffs. His hand was shaking. The sound of the metal snapping open was the loudest thing in the room. Marcus rubbed his wrists, looked up at him, and said, "Thank you, officer." His tone was polite, but cold. The kind of polite that burns. Harkins didn't respond. He couldn't. Marcus turned to Bennett. "I'll be in touch, Captain. There's still a lot to discuss." Bennett nodded. "I understand, Agent Davis." And right there, that word, that single word, hit Harkins like a truck. Agent. His brain stalled. "Wait, what did you just say?" Bennett turned her head slowly, giving him the look of someone who just ran out of patience. "Special Agent Marcus Davis," she said. "FBI." Boom. The silence after that. You could hear his career cracking under it. "Special Agent," Harkins repeated, voice cracking just enough for everyone in the room to catch it. Jenkins looked up from his desk like someone just dropped a bomb. "Wait, FBI." Bennett didn't blink. "That's correct. Agent Davis is part of an interagency task force. He's been in town for 2 weeks, working with us." You could see it in Harkins' face. The blood drained out like someone pulled the plug. His jaw opened, but no words came out. Marcus stood there, calm as ever, adjusting his cuffs. They'd left faint red marks, but he didn't care. He looked at Harkins, not with anger, not even with pity, just that quiet look of a man who's seen this scene before. "Guess I fit your description a little too well, huh?" Marcus said softly. That one line landed like a body blow. Jenkins coughed just to break the silence. Someone in the back muttered, "Damn," under their breath. Bennett didn't move. "Officer Harkins," she said finally, "I want your badge and service weapon on my desk. Now." He froze. "Captain." "Now." Her voice didn't rise. It didn't need to. The authority in it made every head in the room turn. He unclipped his badge, hand shaking, and placed it down. The sound of it hitting the desk? Brutal. Like the final nail in his own coffin. "Suspension, pending review," Bennett continued. "And if Agent Davis decides to file a complaint, and he has every right to, you can expect more than suspension." Marcus straightened his jacket, smooth, deliberate. "I'm not here for revenge, Captain. I just want to make sure this doesn't happen to the next guy sitting in a park with a book." That hit everyone. Even the walls seemed to go quiet for a second. Bennett nodded slowly. "I'll make sure of that." Marcus gave her a small smile. "Then we're good." He turned and started walking toward the door. Every pair of eyes in the room followed him. Some embarrassed, some angry, some just thinking, "Yeah, we needed to see that." As he passed Harkins, he stopped for half a second. No big speech, no lecture. Just one look, calm, powerful, and final. "Next time," Marcus said quietly, "check your instincts before your ego." Oof. You could practically hear the sting echo off the walls. Marcus walked out of the precinct like a man who'd just walked through fire and didn't even smell of smoke. Outside, the air hit different, colder, cleaner. He looked up at the city, cars rushing by, people walking free. Somewhere across the street, that same mother from the park saw him and did a small nod, quiet respect. Justice wasn't loud that day. It didn't need to be. Back inside, Harkins stood there staring at his badge like it was suddenly made of lead. Jenkins leaned over and whispered, "Man, reading in the park. You really picked the wrong book club." A few people chuckled. They couldn't help it. The tension finally broke. Even Bennett's lip twitched, just for a second. As for Marcus, he got in his car, loosened his tie, and smiled faintly. All that for a chapter and a half, he muttered to himself, then started the engine. Because sometimes, justice isn't about courtroom speeches or big takedowns. Sometimes, it's just one man refusing to lose his peace and making the system blink first. And that's how one bad assumption turned into a life lesson for everyone watching. So tell me, if you were Marcus, would you have kept your cool, or would you have let him know exactly who he cuffed right there in the park? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you love stories where truth hits harder than karma, make sure you're following, because the next one, it's even better.